everybody. This is Vince Gilligan. What the hell?
What are you?
Executive producer of Breaking Bad.
Bryan Cranston's here.
And George Mastras.
Mike Slovis, director of photography.
And Christian Diaz de Bedoya's location manager.
Christian Diaz.
Hamala.
And Mr. Mastras, not only did you write this one, you directed. It's the first time ever you've directed anything?
It was indeed, yes.
Man, so what was that like?
It was intense. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. It was an incredible experience. It was really great.
Very good.
Let's start with our boy here, Sammy, right?
Sammy, yeah. Samuel
Yes, Sam Webb.
Sam Webb is really doing a lot of this writing, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
He was a motocross rider and a great actor, and we really scored with him because not only did he have those two skill sets, but he also has a pet tarantula, so he had no problem handling this little fuzzy creature here.
He's a good.
How remarkable was that?
It was really remarkable.
He's all boy. This one. He's a good young man. And he did an excellent job acting. And not to speak out of school, Michael, but Andy Vogley, because you were otherwise detained. Andy Vogley shot this teaser, did he not?
Exactly. We had a concurrent unit going at the same time. Then Andy took over.
Andy, who's our excellent camera operator.
And actually, he was nominated for a Camera Operators Award. They actually have that
This year, that's right.
Oh, yeah?
for our show.
Very well.
Society of
Yeah.
Operating
I
Cameramen
did not know
nominated
that.
him for our show. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, he deserves it. He's great. Got
Very
the
well deserved.
cutest
If
little-
only for hand holding that 60-pound camera for 6 years in a row.
And messing up his neck and back for the rest of his
God
life.
bless him. And he also does our Steadicam.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I put one of those on for literally for about 1.5 minutes one time, and I was just like, I'll tell you anything. I'll tell you. I'll tell you where Al Qaeda is. Just get this goddamn thing off me. Oh, that thing. I don't know how anyone is a Steadicam operator.
And makes it look easy and beautiful, smooth.
Oh, yeah.
I was the same way. You couldn't get it off me fast enough.
Oh yeah.
This was probably one of the most seemingly innocuous openings of teasers because it's like, we don't know who that person is.
Right.
We don't know where he is.
Yeah.
We don't know anything.
It was a teaser in a true sense, yes. Mr. Norris.
What was your first day of shooting there, George?
It was actually this scene.
Was it?
It
I
was.
guessed well.
It was indeed.
Was it this? So was this scene?
The bug planting scene.
Bug
yeah.
planting scene.
Uh-huh.
So how nervous were you?
I was nervous. I was definitely nervous. But, once you get into it, after about an hour or so, you're like, okay. I'm not going to completely freak out, and it's gonna go fine. And
Then you're completely numb, right?
right
After that.
right. The whole day just I don't know.
It
what
goes
it's like
by
with you
so
guys when you're
quickly.
directing. It's like all of a sudden it's the end of the day. And you're like, where'd the day go?
It goes
'Cause
by
you're
very
so in the
quickly.
moment, and you're so absorbed. And
I did a damn fine job.
Your assistant director is constantly pointing to his or her watch,
Yes.
saying we're behind.
Nina Jack, who is
Yeah.
fabulous,
Yeah.
savior, godsend.
I mean, I think that's the.
Nice. Let me see that.
Yeah. Oh, look at that watch. Yeah.
Nina's great. Nina got me through. Last time I directed was 412, 413. We block shot them together, and she was the AD on those two episodes together. And yeah, I wouldn't have made it without her. I mean, I wouldn't have made it without any. Our crew is all of them indispensable. She definitely helped me through that for sure.
Well, the whole thing is that you realize it's a collaborative art form in the very sense of the word.
Yeah.
You cannot do this alone. You need to lean on a lot of other people
Yeah.
to help you through this.
Man, this episode was logistically a huge challenge for all of us, and Nina was able to really coordinate, especially with when we get to the train stuff. And
Well, it's not too soon to start talking about that. This is probably the most logistically challenging episode we've ever had with that train. We had to rent an entire railroad to do this episode, did we not?
we did. The was it the Santa Fe?
Santa Fe Southern.
Yeah.
Santa Fe Southern. And you want to now, Christian, this is a good time to talk about what you do as a head of our locations on our show. You have to find, now what we're shooting in right now is on a soundstage, a set, but all the outdoor stuff, or some indoor stuff where we happen to be on a real live location. You got to find, you and your guys got to find all that.
Absolutely.
And you had to go rent a railroad for us. Want to talk
did.
about that?
Yeah, well, this whole story started actually when we were prepping episode 2 of this season.
Right.
And I was in the guts of having a department meeting with my staff. And the phone rings, and Michelle McLaren, sounding very heated, says, I need you to find me a train within an hour. And not only that, I need to know exactly how much it costs.
Oh my God, they want to do a train heist.
Yeah. Vince and them need to break the story in the next hour and a half to 2 hours, and I need to make sure that we can actually deliver a train.
When she said find it in an hour, he meant an hour away from our studios, right? Somewhere close by?
Somewhere close by, actually, in time. She needed to know these answers within the hour because Vince and you guys are getting ready to go into Sony or AMC. I don't know which one. And you guys had to break the story on 5. And look, we're either going to have a train or we're not.
So it's either a train or the International Space Station.
And I automatically scratched out Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway because the time is way too small.
Yeah.
The insurance just to cover something of shooting on a real railroad track is just enormous. And I just thought about an old TV show that I worked on, Crash. And we had considered doing the same thing, using a train, which we never did end up doing because of the complications of doing it. And I looked up this guy. His name was
Bill
King.
Bill King.
Bill King. And I called. He didn't pick up. Left him a message. I said, if you can please call me back. I need a call back within the next 20 minutes. I need a train. ASAP. And he calls me back within 30, 40 minutes.
Okay.
So I beat Michelle's deadline. And I said, listen, Bill, I'm going to throw something really big at you, and I need an answer in 5 minutes. And he gave me a ballpark figure. He said, look, I have a train. I have my private spur line. It's perfect. It's an open desert. It's everything that our outline was calling for.
Yeah.
So I said, this is too good to be true. So I called Michelle. I felt like a hero. I just said, Michelle, I got your train. This is what it's going to cost.
Nice.
Of course, she flipped on that number. And I said, we can work it down. Everything's possible. And that's kind of where the story started.
I love it. I love it.
The location itself is in Lamy, which is just a little bit north of Santa Fe, which is well outside of our production zone.
Yeah.
But
Great restaurant there.
Yeah.
yeah, and if I remember correctly, Vince, you were on a flight out here, I believe, that same weekend, if not too long after, to go and look at this spot.
Yeah. We had the best day because it was a wonderful day walking. I used to do that with my dad and my brother Pat. We would walk on the railroad tracks around Farmville, Virginia. That was one of my favorite things to do. And I got to do that for a whole afternoon. Got to skip out and work and walk a railroad track for about, I don't know, 1.5 miles, 2 miles, and see all these potential locations. And even though George wrote and directed the episode, he was busy writing, so he couldn't join us on that first scout. But God, that was fun. And then we ate a good meal at that restaurant in Lamy.
I can't even think about restaurants. This was a hell location for us.
Oh yeah, talk about this. This is a location. This is a real place. Talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, this This is a basement. I think it's a metalworking factory, and you can get an idea of its scope here. It's a very long room, but it was quite dank and not a lot of air down there.
No.
And we had 2 days in there,
Yeah.
so it was a tough one.
My friends here don't know you like
I got to tell you though, it looks damn
It
fine
looks
on
fantastic.
film.
It's beautiful look.
Beautiful
And,
lighting.
I mean, I remember talking with Michael about we really wanted to get the textures of the ceiling and the walls, and so Michael lit it accordingly, and you can really see the sense of the scope, and it makes it
pass along this.
appear very creepy.
I remember it was originally scripted as an abandoned warehouse. And we did find a couple locations that we all
Right.
really liked, but
Well, there was
as
also
we know here in New
windstorms,
Mexico, it was around May, which is the windy season here, where
Right.
we can get winds of up to 50 miles an hour.
Yep.
And the sound implications of all that tin rattling around
Right.
really wasn't going to help us.
Right.
That's
This-
why we ended up underground.
Right.
Yeah.
This was actually subterranean.
Correct.
It was.
It felt like it's a bunker. It feels like
much.
you'd go there if you were having an air raid go on.
It's actually the perfect location for if you were going to do this to someone. So
Yeah, it
it's
does.
very fitting.
Looks like a good place for Hitler to shoot himself in the mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
It was dusty down there too, right?
Very dusty, no air circulation.
Okay, Lydia.
And that's after we cleaned it.
Oh, the other thing was about working in conditions like this for 13, 14 hours a day. The ceiling was very low. You could just reach above your head. I could reach above my head without even stretching and touch the ceiling. Wow. And that oppressiveness
Yeah.
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
over the hours just pushes down on
In
you.
fact, there's a shot in here where we have the camera right up by the ceiling to give you a sense of you're shooting overhead, and we were able to use that ceiling. I was originally a little bit concerned about the ceiling. I remember talking to Michael about that because I thought maybe that would flatten out the light or whatever, but we really took advantage of that.
But I like the low ceiling because, like in this shot right here, you're seeing it. There's a sort of a how did they do it?
Yeah.
When you see all the walls, all the ceiling, and everything, it's like, hey, how did they light that?
How did they light it? Yeah,
how did
there's
they
no
do that
room.
shot?
And then this table here, I wanted a table that we could shoot through, and Mark Freeborn got that. That's a metalworking table.
It's a welding table.
Welding table.
Yeah.
So the scraps and the things fall through onto the floor, right? And there's-
Yeah, and you ground it with one end of your arc welder. I used to use one of those. On
Very heavy. You guys were
Extremely
pulling
heavy.
it apart, pulling it for me. Yeah.
Extremely heavy, but appropriate for this
Yeah.
look. It looks like it fits perfectly.
By the way, I love Mary Sue Evans, who plays Janice, Dean's, or rather Hank's.
Yeah, very natural.
Very excellent secretary, and gotta love Laura Frazier here, who plays Lydia Rodart Quayle. She's I hate to admit it, I'm sitting here. We're shooting our final 8 episodes as we record this. We're shooting our 3rd episode of the final 8. I've still never even met the woman.
Is that
I
right?
swear to God, but she's so good. Was she a trooper? How was she?
Oh, she's great.
She was great. Yeah. She's great.
Was she fun to direct?
She's from Scotland.
I know. I've never heard her real
And she has
accent.
a beautiful little brogue.
This is that high ceiling shot,
Yeah.
so we were able to take advantage of. So you get a lot of ceiling in the foreground there.
It's a beautiful shot.
Well, that's
I
as
love
high as that camera could go because
right
the
up,
mag was right up against
It was
the
right up against the ceiling. Yeah.
I love the lighting down here, Michael. I love
Fabulous.
beautiful lighting. An interesting color cast here. The show didn't usually have this
like
color
a
cast.
greenish kind
It's a fluorescent green. It's the color that those tubes usually are if you don't correct for the film that we're using. So we just let them go with that raw feel.
I like it.
It has a harsh raw feel to it.
I like it. So that is what the raw film looks like out of the bath, out of the lab, or was a little of that added to by Tom Sartori, our wonderful colorist?
No. This is what it looked like on
That's
the
what it
day.
looked like,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And if you're looking at like a regular tungsten bulb, like a regular household lamp, yeah, that's why when you take a photo without a flash, if your flash doesn't go off with your still camera,
Gotcha.
it looks green. That's why.
Gotcha. And little details like that little corner of the laptop there, all that stuff. I think that's burned in. That's a visual effect. I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's amazing all the little details that have to go into a scene like this. I think you got a good eye, George. I like where all these nice spots you place the camera, nice compositions here. on these guys.
Thanks. Michael gets a lot of the credit for that too.
You guys work great together.
And I helped. That's all.
You guys work well together. I love this shot.
Yeah, I like this one.
That's philosophically, oddly enough, sometimes I'm in the editing room. I see a beautiful shot like that, and I love it so much that my first thought is don't overuse it
Yeah.
because it's so beautiful. Let's spend that particular dollar once and spend it wisely.
And this
And
real wide.
I love this shot.
Yeah.
Although we did use that shot more than once. This scene is so long.
Yeah.
I mean, in a good
It's
way.
overwritten.
It's it's actually a whole act and a half in this location.
Yeah, you're
part of the
right.
script.
Yeah, in this particular episode, we didn't have a lot of locations. We had the train
Right.
Yeah.
and we had this.
It doesn't necessarily make your job easier.
Not at
because
all.
logistically,
Because that one train location
Oh, yeah.
coming up,
Yeah.
we had to deal with several property owners.
Oh, yeah.
And
Was everybody cool?
Everybody was great. We were so blessed. We ran into the right man.
Oh, Bill
Yeah,
King
he-
was
that.
great.
He knows
Bill
his stuff.
King
Bill
and
King was great.
Jim, who was actually the property owner
Oh,
under
Jim.
the bridge and the
Gosh.
trellis
Oh,
and
okay.
where we staged our equipment.
Oh,
He
God
allowed
bless
us to
Jim.
build roads to get there.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim was a real blessing.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
By the way, the the Santa Fe and Southern Railroad, which again we're talking about it now. I'm talking about it now because there's so much to talk about coming up with the train sequence. Might as well start now. You can ride this. You can go to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Go to the old depot there, which is surrounded by wonderful art galleries and whatnot and restaurants, and you can ride that train. You can ride it to Lamy.
They have, it's a tourist train.
Tourist
now.
train, yeah. It used to move Budweiser beer. He told me that they made a lot of money moving Budweiser. It's only like a 7 mile spur line, something like that.
Correct. That he privately owns.
Yeah.
And Bill also served as our train expert in a lot of the little details about what goes on in the locomotive and the sounds and everything.
Well, you got stuff to talk about how the train broke down on you one day.
Yes. The first day.
Jesus. There's a
We were
little.
gunning after that, yes.
I love the sign they made there. We wanted to sell that this was Houston, Texas, and a little bit of. And we don't use legends on this show. Legend, like the name of the place you are, comes up like we used to do on X Files. That was something I didn't want to do from day one.
Yeah.
But a few times you.
Killed anyway.
This is a great scene.
Not good enough.
Look, lady.
Do you have children?
That has nothing to do with this.
It's not a trick question. Why don't you just answer it?
Yes, I have children, so what? You think that somehow because we're both parents that I won't let my partner do what's necessary?
Swear on their life.
I love this angle. So where is this again? Where's this location?
This is actually in downtown Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
not out in the boonies.
It's in the middle of downtown Albuquerque.
I didn't know that.
On the top is a welding factory. And
An active welding factory.
yeah, and they're called Disket, and they create these barbecue grills,
Oh,
which they just invented. It's shaped like a disc. It's got its own little engineering to it that I can't really recall exactly now,
Yeah.
but
cool.
the property owners were very good. They closed the shop for a couple days and just let us do our thing.
Nice.
Great.
Now, I got to think, people are people all over, and I got to think every now and then you run into a property owner, someone who's a giant pain in the tuchus. What do you do then?
Absolutely.
Money.
Money?
Money
Does money make them nice?
There are times when
Sometimes.
we go to a location and someone, purposefully puts on their lawnmower
Music
or
or-
something
yeah.
like that. And then what do? You go over there and say,
Yeah, and what we've done is we've learned to be a little proactive in that regard. So we go way out ahead of time,
With
and we
baseball
try and
bats.
reschedule everybody's activities
yeah,
way ahead of time, and we'll pay a minor fee than what we would on the day to make it go away.
Yeah.
We just pay a little bit less up front and reschedule.
right. And then they're happier, and yeah.
And then you
it's
know what,
smart.
Brian, believe it or not, you and the cast, you guys help us a lot because every now and then we'll come with a poster and say, if you guys can give us a signature,
Yeah,
we can solve a lot of problems here.
autograph,
Without
yeah.
spending a lot of money. So
Well, I got to say, God bless the people of Albuquerque. It's been a
Yeah.
wonderful city, and New Mexico, a wonderful state to shoot in. And 99 out of 100 people or 999 out of 1,000 people are great.
they're great.
We've had a couple of douchebags, but
Yeah.
on the whole,
Those one people out of a
And I'll
thousand.
give you this, Vince. There's a lot of locations that prior to me being on this show would not allow filming. But because I go there and I say I'm with Breaking Bad, they will make the exception because they're big fans of the show.
God bless them.
They follow the show, and
And they want to be on the
It's
tour,
amazing.
right?
That's
There's
great.
the
Yeah.
tour now that goes around town.
don't get me started on the tour.
Does the tour like has it gone
That's
by like
created a
while we're
little-
shooting
yeah.
and sort of
I am sorry about the tour. That was not our idea.
I know.
want to say.
why has the tutor been a bane of your existence?
It has.
Yes,
Yes.
okay.
Well, you can imagine. You know what?
Right.
It's not what anyone signed on for, and it's nothing we ever intended. God
No,
knows.
it's a
property owners
separate
aren't getting any
private
money out of it.
entity
Yeah, it has
that
nothing to do
started up
with
a
us.
tour based on the success of the show, and it just attracts more attention than necessary.
Yeah.
Aside from us being there already.
Yeah, not affiliated nor endorsed.
I own a piece of it. But I tip them off where we're going to be, a location.
Stop the train.
Silent partner, not silent.
Yeah, but I can't speak enough for the city of Albuquerque and the
they've
film
been great.
office. They are so accommodating.
And
They'll
learner.
really
Yeah, and
It's
learner.
been
allow you to
fantastic,
get
and-
everything you need, you know, within reason. But
No, Albuquerque and New Mexico have been fantastic hosts.
Blessing. It's a blessing
Really
we were
have.
here. Because originally, the plan was for Riverside, California. And I'm sure that would have been there would have been wonderful people there too. But I got to tell you, the look of Albuquerque and New Mexico and the people here, it's just been a blessing. The show wouldn't be what it is without.
Not only that, I mean, quite frankly, we came here because of the film incentive
Yeah,
program.
yeah,
And that helps us to make the show.
Yeah.
But Albuquerque has become another character to the show, as we've
Absolutely.
seen in a lot of these episodes. The topography of it all, the landscape, just amazing.
absolutely true.
Word, the FBI and Homeland Security are going to swoop down with choppers on us so fast it'll make.
I do remember that one time. This is before your time, Christian. Season 1, very early on, before Breaking Bad was Breaking Bad, and we were shooting at the home of Gretchen and Elliot Schwartz, the characters, the rich folks that Walt used to know back in the day and used to work with, and there was some asshole neighbor who kept turning on his wood chipper every time he heard action called. So the AD. So we swapped them. So we told the crew quietly that cut meant action and action meant cut.
that's genius. That's genius. I love it.
That's great.
I thought you were professionals.
Oh, look how cute this is.
Yeah.
It's the baby.
That's a
I think
cute
that's
little baby.
Moira, isn't it?
Moira,
I can't remember which baby this was.
She's a cute little booger.
If those turn out to be her first words, I will beat you with you.
That's a nice line.
Talk about a great location in the sense that, it's a great house, period. But the wonderful folks who own this house.
June and Fred.
June
June and
and
Fred.
Fred Gardner.
And this is one of the few places where we actually shoot it completely. The exterior is the exterior, and we go inside and we shoot everything on the inside.
Yeah, that's a rare thing on this show. Yeah. And they're such wonderful people, Fred and June.
They are.
Good people. Fred and June and Fran and Lewis, who own the White
The
House.
White House,
White House, yeah.
location.
God
correct.
bless them. They're wonderful.
Barely. When he does, he barely talks.
Well, this house is particularly great for us because, unfortunately, Fred's in a wheelchair, and the whole house was designed
Yeah.
around his ability to get, so that he could get from one place to another. The doors are wider.
Yeah.
The hallways are wider.
Yeah.
The minute I saw it, I said,
Yeah.
"This is for us," because for a film crew, which is, very invasive into somebody's home, it's wonderful. You can see how wide that hallway is
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, nice wide hallway. It's a nice house.
It's a great house, and they're such
Great
nice
location.
people.
Oh yeah, good.
Nice
good
high
people.
ceilings as well. That
Yeah.
helps
Nice
a lot.
high ceilings.
Whereas this, we're back on our studio lot now,
Right.
and this is a set.
And this is a great shot, George.
Oh, thanks.
This is a
Push
nice
in
shot.
there.
This was not easy to get.
6 takes. This was take 6. So.
Because if you look closely, there's no edits in this. It's a oneer. It's just one shot, right?
And you go from something that's very wide and, well, we'll see where we end up, something very tight, which is very difficult to do.
The timing, because you want to arrive on Jesse the right time, so knowing when to start and how fast to move.
Now, what's the camera on here, Michael?
The camera was on a dolly here, but it was a combination of a zoom, a dolly, a zoom, and I believe we had to Hollywood that table out, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I like.
But this is very confident for a first-time director, I have to say, to come in and say, I want to do this shot.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Even though it's a mistake, he should have kept it.
What's the framing doing? Where's he going?
He went off me. Once the camera goes off me, it's like it's a mistake.
So how you not seeing the dolly track if you're, or is it on a?
Well, that's why we have to partially
Lens.
zoom.
I
in
see.
to
Zoom
yeah,
here,
That's why we, right after it went through the guys there, we transitioned from the moving dolly to a zoom.
Gotcha.
That was the first cut.
Yeah. He came back to his senses there.
Yeah, came back. Stay on me.
And here we are out in the place we've been talking about. I love this shot. This is a great shot. Good job on this, George. Good stuff.
I like that transition
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
We had the cameras mounted on the for much of this take on the what was that little? There's a little pickup truck.
Yeah,
but
the
there's a little
truck with
pickup
the
truck that
train
drives
wheels, yeah.
on the,
Yeah.
Exactly.
which is great.
Now, a shout out to our wonderful visual effects folks, to our post-production producer, Diane Mercer, and to Bill Pulowski, our visual effects supervisor, because this is indeed in the middle of nowhere, or it feels that way, but there are houses around here. And in these 3 shots you just saw now, there are houses in every shot that had to be digitally erased.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a deal.
Funny how you
It's
don't
a
remember
deal.
those things.
These guys are artists who can pull that stuff off.
And the sun was being very cooperative right now.
Yeah.
Oh, this was windy as
Hot
Just
through.
this,
this
yeah.
was windy as
It was
hell.
really
this
windy
day.
and a
See.
huge storm was rolling in.
Look at the
Crazy
Okay,
wind.
yeah.
Look at the pant legs and everything. Yeah.
But this shot is windier than the one before it. You just
Yeah.
you kind of got to go with it.
Now this shot was off of a gator that you saw. We were tracking
Just
with
tracking
on
on a
the
little
side. Yeah, a
side
little
road.
vehicle.
Like a little four
And
wheel.
look at
Almost
we're,
like a golf cart,
we're,
yeah.
we're positioning ourselves so we don't get blown over. I said I'm going to brace myself up here.
That was the single windiest thing the whole shoot. I think I was actually out here. I'm
Yeah.
proud to say I was out here for all of this, just because it had to
You
be
love
all,
trains.
I love trains. You know what? That's really the real reason. It was just an all hands on deck kind of thing because we had never been this far away before. This is
Yeah.
Santa Fe, New Mexico. We all
Yeah.
had to stay in a hotel.
It was nice.
It was nice. It was nice. That La Posada, that was a good place.
Yeah.
I like that place.
Now one of those bluffs there. I don't know if it was that particular bluff, but very close to it. That was featured in the Butch and Sundance, the famous movie.
Oh, yeah?
They jumped off the cliff there.
Correct.
It's the same train track here.
That sequence there was shot by Andy Vogelai as well.
Yes.
In our
Yeah,
back
yeah,
lot.
in our back lot, because we had to separate some of the work there.
We did. Yep.
That's right. This train line, not the whole movie, but at least a part of Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid back in 1969, which I love. I love that Hollywood history that was shot out here.
And here, though, the New Mexico sky here was very helpful to us as well, cooperating.
Of course, here's
Beautiful
Jesse
sky.
Plemons, who plays Todd, who's an excellent actor.
Right.
Glad to have him on the show.
Look at those clouds.
Beautiful clouds. See, I'm heartbroken when I go out. The first thing I do when I'm here, whether I'm directing or not, I wake up in the morning, I look out the window and look at the sky, and if it's blank blue, I'm just heartbroken because and then I'm thinking maybe clouds will come later, but I love the beautiful clouds out here. I love when we get them on film.
Big billowy. Look at that.
Yeah.
Streaky.
I like these cirrusy ones too, but my favorite are the puffy cumulus ones.
Here's the interesting thing about this location is one side of the bridge belonged to one property owner.
Yeah.
The other side of the bridge belonged to the other property owner.
Oh,
Really?
And then Bill King, who owns the spur line, has an easement
Gotcha.
within both
Oh,
properties.
no kidding.
So this side of the bridge, not too helpful.
okay. I
The other
guess.
side of the bridge, a lot more helpful.
Hence we're shooting on this side of the bridge.
But
we on the set, we don't know that, which you guys do such a great job. We just come there on the day, and our job is to make the show.
Yeah.
correct. And our job is to allow you guys to just show up and have it be like your office.
I think when you own this disc, you'll probably already know this, but there's going to be a wonderful documentary about the making just of this episode. I think
Oh, really?
that I look forward to seeing.
Oh, I remember we had a small crew in.
Yeah.
Didn't we have a crew in?
Stu,
Yeah.
or British Stu, as we call him, is
British Stu.
excellent documentary director. I can't wait to see it. As we're recording this, it doesn't exist yet, but I can't wait to watch it.
Well, out of 24,000 gallons.
It was a great trestle bridge.
Yeah,
Just
built in the 20s, I think.
But yes, you're right.
I had such fun that day, just walking along it. I have such fond memories of railroads, growing up around them as a kid. It was such a pleasure to be able to shoot, to be a part of this, to have all this wonderful stuff, in our show. I can't say enough good things about the Santa Fe Southern.
Overall, was this the most expensive episode that we've done?
It's got to be in the top Top
I
couple.
was beaten.
You were beaten just. Were you beaten just recently?
We might have been beaten
twice. From what I
twice
understand.
We're laughing at some inside jokes.
It was at the time. It was at the most.
It was at the time. RJ, wonderful acting from RJ here.
You did a nice job.
Did a nice job here. I love this scene. But it's I can't believe we got this done. That's the train of it all. I can't believe, and God bless those guys and all you guys for making it happen. You know, we talked briefly about the ripoff being the train robbery being a big firefighting helicopter with a giant hose hovering over the tanker.
Oh, really?
We honestly thought we were doing that for about 10 minutes, and then we came to our senses.
I remember that. Look into the rail yard. Can we hover a helicopter over downtown Albuquerque and pull a hose down just in case we can't get the whole train? Because setting up these chemical cars turned out to be one of the biggest
logistical
issues for us to get, because they never sit still.
Right.
And whether you use them or not, there's a price every day that you got to pay for.
Sure.
And it's not cheap.
It's called rolling stock. And as you just said, Christian, we brought them in from as far away as Houston in real life. Houston, which is over 900 miles away from Albuquerque.
Correct.
I know that because Lydia lives in Houston story-wise, and we know how far away she lives. So.
And we had to paint. Well, at least the boxcars we had to paint because they were covered with graffiti. So
yeah. So these are pretty clean railroad cars, because in real life, the truth is a lot of railroad cars are indeed covered with graffiti.
Correct.
But since you insist on keeping me imprisoned, I'll make you a deal. I will launder your money. I'll keep your secrets. But the kids will stay at Hank and Marie's, where they have a chance of being safe.
Like you've seen too many movies. Our children are not in danger.
Just a couple of days ago, you told me that a man held a gun to your head. You said it like it was a point of pride. There's nothing you can say that'll convince me there won't come a day that somebody will knock on that door looking to harm you or me or all of us. And when that day comes, the children cannot be here. You agree to that, and I will be whatever kind of partner you want me to be.
By the way, you're visiting a therapist from Rio Rancho, Peter. Last name, it's up to you.
Out burying bodies?
Robbing a train.
Yeah.
I love the audacity of that line that Walt delivers just there. She says, you were doing something, you get notice you're dirty, and he goes, what are you doing?
Right, yeah.
He's robbing a train.
I love it. I love it.
Right,
Talk about how you got this. This was a great grab. This was your first bit of directing, George.
yeah, because we were shooting it during the schedule for the previous episode because we happened to be out there.
2 or 3, I believe.
Yeah.
Or
It was a
maybe
couple episodes
before.
early.
This
It was way early on.
Exactly the same day, because we were only at Lydia's house one time, and it was the great scene in episode 2 where she is threatened by this man, by Mike.
So you shot that segment back then?
I did, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it was a good little bit of like a dress rehearsal for George, never having directed before. And also, we knew we couldn't go back to that location. It's a beautiful house in Albuquerque. Wonderful location, but a big deal to get to and to shoot. So we only knew we'd have that one time. It worked out very well, actually.
There's Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. That's a real...
Driving the huge dump truck. Yeah.
That's a real bird, by the way. Because people are thinking,
yeah.
did they add that in? No, that's real. Yeah. Bill Burr. I love Bill Burr. He's funny as shit.
Funny guy.
I gotta say, do yourselves a favor. Look up Bill Burr on the computer and watch some of his stand-up or go attend his stand-up or buy some of his DVDs or whatnot. He is funny as shit. I love this shot.
Yeah, we had I worked with Aubrey in figuring out where to mount these digital cameras all over the train. There's one there by the horn. There's one right there by.
That one's my camera.
Yeah.
With an arm out.
Yeah.
Tell him the story. This one, that's my personal camera. And it got knocked off. And Michael came back to me and said, "Hey, your 5D it fell off the train." And I said, "Ha ha ha." He says, "No, your 5D fell off the train." And I said, "Ha ha ha." He said, "No, seriously."
That's okay. I think it was with my lens.
That's right.
But you would come to me every day. Vince would go, "You want me out of your hair, don't you? Give me something to go shoot. Like that, don't you need a shot of this? Don't you need a shot of that?" Vince would always be
You know, so interesting.
going, "Get me away from here. God, stop bothering you."
Something talking about safety issues.
I love
so
this.
here we are telling, stay out from underneath the trestle. Everybody out from underneath the trestle, except the actors with the actual train overhead. That's okay because it's going to be used in a shot.
I love it. The compositing
Yes.
here, Bill Pawlowski and his guys and Diane Mercer. That first of all, I can't even talk fast enough to tell you. First of all, Bill Burr is not actually there because we couldn't put anyone in front of the moving train, so he's composited in. The view out the window, out the side of the locomotive engineers is burned in different footage because the train really only moved like 8 or 10 miles an hour the whole time we had it. The amount of work that went into this.
So did you just lock off the camera in that and put Bill in it one time?
Exactly.
And
It's matched.
And this is
then, he's not there now.
He's not there now.
He's not there now. There's two.
Or the train is not there. Right.
Or the train. Yeah.
One
one or
pass,
the other.
exactly. He's on the, exactly. It married together digitally.
Right.
Two takes. One with the train, one without.
And as fast as this goes, this is a tremendous amount of work.
Oh, God, yeah. I remember.
Handheld in here. Yeah. All these little pieces.
Every single one of these shots is a setup.
Yeah.
And where those tanks are actually buried in, those are full tanks buried in the ground.
Yeah.
So everything that you see,
Real tanks. Yeah.
it's as if they could have been siphoning out the chemicals.
Which itself was a deal because you got to get engineers out there to see if the ground, because it's a safety thing. You don't want the holes falling in and killing anybody, burying them.
But Bryan and Aaron, they're all doing this, and Jesse, we're using water, of course, but they're actually doing what we would have done in reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Water instead of methylamine, that's the only difference.
As far as we know, by the way, don't try this at home, kids, but the whole thing actually, I was proud of this. I think we were all proud of this. This ripoff probably would work.
Yeah.
I mean,
As long as you don't get spotted, yeah.
just as long as you don't get caught, just as long as you don't have to kill a kid at the end.
Since you brought that up, I wanted to mention that while I was watching this episode, I had completely forgotten about that kid.
Oh, good.
In the teaser.
Good.
Didn't everybody?
Yeah.
Did anybody remember the kid at this point?
Yeah.
That's the plan. That was
Yeah.
the hope. Yeah.
But this was so complicated because
Okay.
it required coordinating between where Jonathan is now,
Yeah.
where the heist is going on. We had multiple units going all the time.
Yeah.
It's
It is
incredible.
like two different locations because they're about 800 feet apart.
Now-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, but was Aaron allowed to lie underneath the train as it was sitting there?
He was, yeah.
As it
While
was sitting there because
Absolutely.
they did this thing, they had to lock the train, and that was a 10-minute process, but you couldn't get near the train until it was officially locked, which means not only the air brakes are on, but some other braking system is on as well.
Right.
And Jesse is indeed on top of this tank.
Jesse
Yes.
Plemons.
Jesse
yeah.
Plemons, who plays Todd,
yeah,
Very
he's
high,
up there.
too.
is indeed
Yeah,
on top.
It's pretty high up there.
I went up there. I some of the footage down on that. I shot that. That's with the cannon, and it was high up there. It was kind of like
Yeah, it was.
It was way up there.
So the shot coming up when the train is passing overhead, you shot that as a plate as well.
I did, and there's two shots. There's one where you're looking at him laterally, and there's one overhead that we use for when the train actually passes directly
by,
over him, and
yeah.
he's lying there, and we're directly bird's eye view over
Right.
him. And so those were both shots as plates with just Jesse there and no train, and then we shot the train moving by itself and married those in post.
This is such a wonderful example, as you said, Brian, of the collaboration the art of collaboration that truly defines what motion pictures are, film or TV. This is all hands on deck, everyone working their butts off and enthusiastic for the process. And I'm so proud of this, what everyone did, all of us, for this episode. Not to toot our own horns, but this is it's like next to impossible to do on an 8-day schedule. Well, how many days were we out here? 4 days or 5?
5 days.
Did we
5
have
days.
9 days on this episode? Or?
We
Probably
had 9 days in this.
9
Yeah,
days.
to be
We
fair, it wasn't
extended by
8.
1 day.
The last day, the 9th day, was with Andy, and it was a full day with the second unit. Yeah.
It's still
Still.
most
Shooting
people would not.
teaser.
If you
amazing.
told people we did this in 9 days
I can't be-
or
Yeah.
8
Absolutely.
days with a second unit,
Yeah.
no one would believe
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
I mean, to put it in perspective, and a great show, admittedly, but Sopranos would regularly shoot,
16,
15,
17,
16,
yeah.
17, 18, 20 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, several shows do that still. though.
yeah.
Game of Thrones does that. And,
Yeah. That looks like it, though, to be fair. That I don't know how they make that show. It's a great show.
Yeah.
Amazing. But there's shows out there, you're like, what were you doing? Eating a sandwich for like 3 of the days? What the fuck? We're doing all this shit in 9 days.
Water is
Not usually.
I'm not
Usually 8.
Usually 8.
usually I'm not naming any names, by the way, when I say that for other shows.
The water ballooning up the hose here. This great tracking shot
Yep.
up the hose.
Boom.
Following it up the hose.
Right. So the water's going in from the top.
In from the top, and the methylene coming out of the
from the
bottom.
bottom.
So
And that's all
Perfect
really happening. The
displacement.
water's really being pumped up there and
Yeah.
going in. And
it's also coming out of the bottom.
yeah, it really is. Yeah. Oh, that's a great composite there. That was a stolen bit of footage of Bill and then composited into a stolen bit of footage of his background. Wonderful,
really?
Wonderful job by Bill Pulowski, who put that together just to help sell the geography. So much of this episode's about the geography of, these 2 different locations. If you don't understand that, we knew going into this, did we not, George? If you didn't understand the geography of where everyone was
Right.
at all times,
Right.
we'd be screwed. We wouldn't.
Right.
We wouldn't have anything.
These are great.
Yeah, you kind of get
Condor
the
shot.
feel there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That condor shot, I was so worried because the train broke down the first day.
Oh, talk about that.
Most of the moving train stuff was going to be shot the first day. That the opening shot where the train's coming right at the camera on the crane, we got that, and then thank God, because I knew I wanted that to be my introduction to the train, where the train moves down and then reveals the guys into the bridge. Shortly after that, it broke down and it was out for 2 days. So everything that I was going to shoot with the moving train arriving and leaving, got pushed. And for a while, it was in limbo. Like, I didn't think I'd be able to shoot the moving train at all because were they going to, I mean, this locomotive was built, what, in the 50s?
1952, I think.
So it was, are they going to get it fixed in time? It was a problem, and they worked all night on it. So the whole schedule had to change constantly. And so I was worried I was going to lose that crane shot that condor shot, because I wanted that bird's eye view of seeing the train arrive and leave with it. But we were able to work it in from the other side, sort of the very last day, which was great. So we do have the train arriving.
God bless Bill and his mechanics too, because they were up till 3 or 4 in the morning. They went and got a governor. It was a governor problem on the locomotive, and they
Susanna Martinez?
and they. But the governor, whatever the hell the governor is, they replaced the old one with some new one that they ran like
Right.
hell to go get, and they were out there till or maybe 5 in the morning putting it in, and they got the locomotive running again. Thank God.
And thanks to Michael too, because we knew we were I kind of felt like it was gone, and we were kind of thinking like the condor shot was going to be gone, and we missed it. And Michael was just like, you know what? Let's just quickly get this condor back over here. It was like day 4. We can get it now. We can get it now.
I didn't
So
insist on much, but I did insist
Every
on
morning
that.
I'd be like, is there any way I can get the condor in today, Michael? Can I get it? Can I get it? Can I get it? And it was like, we finally found the right moment to get it in there. So
And rewatching it now, I've already seen 3 or 4 cuts back to it. It's a good thing we did.
It's just like,
you
it's
know.
just so.
It was well worth it.
There's so much to talk about here too. By the way, we haven't mentioned the engineer and the conductor here, who did a great job, and those 2 guys were.
Mick and
It was Mick and Jamie.
Jamie
and Mick. And they did a great job, both of them. And they got to actually drive the train here a little bit, didn't they?
They did.
They're actors. They're not.
They didn't. Yeah.
What a
I
thrill
mean,
to be able to throw those switches
yeah.
and actually
No
be a
kidding.
conductor.
yes.
Yeah. Jamie and Nick did a very nice job. I love all this stuff. And by the way, also got to say, this is the longest single music cue we've ever had in the history of Breaking Bad. It's pretty much the entire act, written by the incomparable Dave Porter, and it's fantastic. It adds so much. You know, we have the benefit of seeing this without music because in the editing room, and it works. We loved it without music, and then we saw it with his amazing score, and it added so much. It would not be the sequence that it is without his excellent
Great
music.
score, yeah.
You're in the edge of your seat with this music.
I think one of the reasons this sequence works so well is because it's so not like our show, with so many shots.
Yeah.
Our show is really, about longer shots, wider shots, and
Yeah.
and this,
Here's
This
that
is great.
plate. Yeah.
That's composited. He's
This is
composited
composite.
in.
Yeah.
Wonderfully done. He's not really in
play,
danger.
yeah.
It just looks that way.
there it
And
is again.
Who was our stuntman who did this jump? He did a great job. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
That's a tough shot because
This is a great
you're
shot.
not moving too quickly here, but that's not that easy either.
That's a great stunt.
Was that Al? With
It wasn't
blonde hair?
Al. It wasn't Al. It was, and I apologize.
This is actually real.
Was it Ed
The
Duran?
train, we used the long lens, and the train was going away. He ran onto the track after the
That's
train
right.
passed.
Laid down.
Laid down
then
and
got
picked
back
up.
up.
Yeah.
That was great.
Simple.
I love it. I love the simple stuff's very often the best stuff. We covered you guys with dust for that.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, there's nobody is remembering that kid.
Yeah, you're
I'm
right.
telling you, it's like
Yeah.
this was such a momentous thing that wow.
Yeah.
And just coming right after
That's
jubilation.
what makes this so
Yeah.
heart wrenching.
Finally, an episode that ends without a major cliffhanger.
Yeah.
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 You feel like
It's actually going to be kind of mellow.
They made it.
escape the danger and well,
Yeah.
And people are going, oh yeah, that kid.
Oh yeah, the kid. Uh-oh. And then Todd doesn't even blink here. I don't think Todd is sadistic. I think he's got to do what's got to be done. But obviously there's some screw loose here, but I don't think he enjoys it. He just doesn't think twice about it. Sam did a good job falling off
he
that
did.
motorcycle.
Sammy did great.
He did great.
and the tarantula did a great job too.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent job.
And
That's
Wow.
that's the end when your mouth is hung. It's like, what? Oh! Nice work.
nice work, everybody.
Nice work, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm proud to be a part of that one. I got to tell you, just amazing. And again, go ride that train. Go to Santa Fe, great place to visit. Out New Mexico's a great place
All
to
right,
visit.
I'm going. I'm
I tell
going.
you,
Look up
ride
Bill
that train.
King. Bill's great.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vince.